So the candidates could come up to the stage, take a seat. We're asking the candidates for a 5 minutes limit. At 5 minutes, I'll let them know, and they just can wrap up their train of thought, and we'll get this done. First seat is the Ohio 4th District Court of Appeals. Now, there's 2 seats in the Court of Appeals up for a vote, but the first seat is Marie Hoover, the Democrat, Jason Smith.
Hi. My name's Laura Kelly, and I have the good fortune of living in a neighborhood with some really thoughtful and nice people, and one of those happened to be Jason, Kelly, and Marley Smith. They're my next door neighbors. Well, Jason couldn't be here this evening, and so I'm going to fill in for him. And he sent me with a letter that he asked me if I would read. So I probably better put on these. Good evening. My name's Laura Kelly, and I'm here to read this statement from Jason Smith, candidate for the 4th District Court of Appeals. Unfortunately, Jason had other events today and could not be here. So here goes. This is his letter. Hello, everyone, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to have this statement read on my behalf. I am running in a 14-county district, and regrettably today and tonight, I have events in Ross, Pickaway, and Washington counties. For those of you who do not know me, I am a lifelong resident of Ironton. I'm married to Kelly Greco Smith, and we have one beautiful, almost 8-year-old daughter, Marley, who I will interject is an excellent swimmer. I see it all summer. I did my undergraduate at Ohio University and law school at Ohio State. I have been practicing law here since 1999. In that time, I have both prosecuted and defended criminal case, have worked in corporate law as in-house counsel for McGinnis, incorporated, and I have extensive experience in civil law. I currently have my own practice where I focus on criminal defense, juvenile law, and domestic relations. When I got in this race in February, I really didn't know what to expect. What I did know was that I didn't like what I saw on the news every night. Specifically, I didn't like seeing judge after judge taking the law into their own hands and making policy, or what is called legislating from the bench. That is not the role of a judge. A judge's role is to interpret the law and apply it fairly to everyone that comes before the court. This is what I intend to do if I'm elected. Another thing I didn't like was what was happening on the national level. From the shutting down of free speech on college campuses to the abuses of power by some of our greatest institutions of government, our individual rights are being stripped away. I promise to work tirelessly on your behalf to ensure your rights are protected. Lastly, I didn't like the fact that Lawrence County always seemed to be left out of the conversation when it comes to regional or statewide positions like the Court of Appeals. When I won the primary in May, I became the first Lawrence County Republican to win a multi-county race since Oakley Collins. Even worse than that, the last time Lawrence County had a representative on this court was 1965. Many of you, I'm sure, remember J.B. Collier Jr., my former boss and prosecutor of Lawrence County. The last Lawrence Countian on this court was his grandfather. I say it's long overdue. We have representation on the court. I promise to make you proud and represent Lawrence County well. Kelly, Marley, and I have been campaigning 7 days a week now for 8 months. We have met so many wonderful people and had experiences I would not have dreamed of before I got into this race. One of those amazing experiences was Kelly getting to sing the national anthem at President Trump rally in Columbus. It was an amazing honor, and I am certainly one proud husband. I absolutely could not have done this without her, so I want to publicly thank her for all her hard work and dedication. I thank you for the opportunity tonight. Please get on his Facebook page at Elect Jason Smith for Court of Appeals and share all the posts so we can spread the word. I humbly ask for your vote on November 6th. God bless. Thank you for this opportunity to let me read that for him.
Marie Hoover walked in just a couple of moments ago. So Marie.
Thank you, and I apologize for coming in late. I was in Highland County earlier today for oral arguments, so I had to stop through Portsmouth. I teach at Shawnee State University. I'm an adjunct faculty member there, so I have a legal research writing class that I had to teach in Portsmouth before I came here. So, but I did make it. I thank you for having me. I guess I missed the instructions beforehand, so I'm assuming I'm just going to give an introduction about myself to you. I am the incumbent, the presiding and administrative judge of the 4th District Court of Appeals. I was elected in 2012, so I've finished my first term, just about to finish it. But I've been elected as the presiding administrative judge, which means that the other judges that sit on the court have chosen me to preside over the court, which means I handle the motion dockets. I'm like the liaison between the Supreme Court and our court. So, and I conduct the oral arguments for our court. So it's a little more responsibility than just being on the panels. We do have 14 counties in our district. It is a very large district, and it's hard to get to everywhere. I know there was an event in Proctorville the other day, and I couldn't make it to that, but I'm trying to get everywhere that I can get. I've been in more parades than you have any idea about. I visited all the 14 counties, but it's been a great thing. I think it's important to talk to people face to face. I think it's important to shake their hands. I think it's important to understand what everybody needs and what they want. I'm on the Public Confidence Committee for the Ohio Judicial Conference, because we as judges know that the public right now has, they're a little worried about the whole justice system. And we're trying to figure out ways to try to bring public confidence back to us. And with that's transparency. I try to make myself available to the public. I want them to know, like I visit a lot of places, and a lot of people don't know what the appeals court does. We actually review all the trial courts in the 14 counties. So for instance, here in Lawrence County, we would review Judge Ballard's decisions. I know, they're not too, they're good, they're fine. But I know I'm running out of time. I graduated from Waverly High School. I went to Miami University after that. I got my law degree from the Ohio State University. After that, I had a contract with the Ohio Public Defender's Office. So I did misdemeanors and felonies in Pike County. I've tried aggravated murder cases. I have tried civil rights cases in federal court in Cincinnati, jury trials. So I've had a lot of experience in court. I have done divorce cases, I've done probate cases. And importantly enough, I've done probably 80 appeals before I even took the bench. And that's in Kentucky, because I'm licensed in Kentucky, I'm licensed in Ohio, and in federal court. So I've done work in the 6th Circuit, I've done work with our court, I've done oral arguments with our court. So that's very important. I may be the only candidate that's actually done that. So it's important that I know how the appellate system works already. I've been on the Judicial Conference Committees, the Appellate Procedure Committee, the Executive Board for the Ohio Appeals Judges. I feel that it's important that I remain on the court because I am that liaison between us and the Supreme Court. Right now, our court's in flux because one of our judges is up for a federal seat. The other judge is retiring, and I'm up for election. So we need to keep some stability there. And if I can remain on the court, that will help because I would still remain as that liaison with the Supreme Court. If you have any questions, I have some literature with me, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you have about the court and about me personally. Personally, I have 2 kids. I've got my husband. We've been married for 20 years, 21 years. I have a 20-year-old boy. I've worked with my husband since 1993, and until I was elected to the bench. Thank you. Like I said, I'll be here for any questions. Thanks.
Like I said, there was 2 seats for this court. The next one is Mike Hess. I have a letter Mike Hess began his career in criminal justice, working full-time as a criminal investigator for the state of Ohio, while also attending law school at Capital University Law School. After graduating from Capital University in 2000, Mike opened his own law practice. Throughout his 18-year career, Mike has worked in both the public and private sector. Mike served as the Chief Assistant County Prosecutor for Pickaway County and is currently the prosecutor for the village of Obes. He is also an attorney for the village and Commercial Point and Laurelville, and is legal counsel for the Pickaway Progress Partnership. Mike learned the value of hard work from his mother, who drove a school bus for 43 years, and his father, who was a factory worker. After graduating from Bowling Green State University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice, Mike moved to Central Ohio. Mike met his wife, Stephanie, in law school, and soon after graduation, they relocated to Pickaway County, where they have lived for 14 years. Community service has always been very important to Mike. He is a current member of the Pickaway County Park District Board, the Pickaway County Law Library Board, the Circleville Civil Service Commission, and is Vice President of the Burger Health Foundation Board. Mike has previously served as a member of the Circleville City Council and is past president of the Pickaway County Bar Association. Served as a trustee for the Circleville Presbyterian Church, was a former chairman of the Pickaway Diversified Industries, a former board member of Stepping Stones, and was named the Court-Appointed Special Advocate, CASA, Attorney of the Year for the state of Ohio in 2013. During his free time, Mike enjoys spending time with family and friends, golfing, fishing, and relaxing at his parents' farm. Mike and Stephanie have one daughter who is in the 5th grade at Tays Valley School District. The second seat is Valerie Gerlich, and I don't think she's here. So the next seat open is the Lawrence County Court of Commons Pleas, Donald Capper.
Good evening, my name's Donald Capper. I'm running for the Common Pleas Judgeship. I'm currently the sitting judge at the municipal court just down the road here on County Road 1, which is called the Lawrence County Municipal Court. A lot of people refer to it as County Court. This is the 3rd candidate forum that I have attended. And I appreciate what the judge said previously about being transparent, and I think that's very important. In our democracy, we rely upon an informed electorate to make decisions, to put people in office who are the best qualified to do the job and therefore better our community and hold the standards of our community. I feel like I have to point out that my opponent has not appeared at any of the candidate forums so far. I have been at every one of them, and I'm available to answer questions. And I'll answer your questions this evening from whoever they come. There was a post made that said for my opponent that she was afraid of planted questions. And I think that a person who is going to be running the Common Pleas Court, where you'll be handling murder trials, complex litigation, medical malpractice cases, with a lot of attorneys that are from not here, from big city lawyers, aggressive lawyers with big egos. You got to be able to answer any objection, any motion, and you got to do it with lots of noise going on in the courtroom. Lots of lawyers are talking over each other, and I've been in those kind of cases. So, transparency is very important to me, and I hope it's important to you. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. I am the municipal court judge, and I've been there since 1990. And there's been a lot of comments about that. Well, he already has a job. Yes, I ran 6 times for municipal court judge, and I was only opposed the first time. Since then, I've run 5 times and been elected without opposition. So I haven't done anything to campaign in those 5 times I've run. I just put my name on the petition, it goes on, and I've been elected. But I think it's time for me to move up to the next level. Judge Cooper is retiring, so he's going to be leaving December 31st, and it's going to be an open seat. And we need someone there with experience, because that court handles the most serious and complicated cases. The court that I've been in is very important also, and it handles a volume of cases. So I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and I believe I'm the best candidate. One of the things there's a few things I want to do if I go on the bench there. I want to continue to be transparent. One of the things I'd like to do, and I know Judge Ballard, we've talked about this, we want to put the court online. I want you as the public to be able to go on at any time and see all the pleadings, see the judgment entries that I write, see anything that I put in the file or anything the attorneys put in the file. That's already available. That's not a big, impossible technological task. The federal courts are already doing it. Every federal court in the United States is already doing that. And you know what? A lot of state courts are doing it. And there's no reason we can't do it. At my court, just down the road, we already put our dockets online. You can go on there, type in anybody's name, see if they got a case in my court. You can see what the disposition was, when they're going to be back in court. Now, we don't have it to the point where you can see the pleadings, but we're starting to prepare for that because we're scanning the pleadings because we know it's coming. Eventually, all courts are going to be digital. So that's one thing I want to accomplish. I want to make the Common Pleas Court completely digital. I also want to continue to fight this drug crisis. We're fighting it. Judge Ballard has started the drug court, he started the drug coalition, and that's making a big impact. I've been fighting it for a long time. I'm the first judge in this county to send anybody to treatment. And I got some criticism for that at first, because there was other judges in this county who didn't think treatment was right. Send them to jail. That was the answer. And that's proved not to be a very good solution. People that have addiction issues, if you just send them to jail, guess what? They're coming out with addiction issues, and even worse. They're learning more things while they're in jail that's going to make the situation worse. So we have to face up to that. We can't turn away from it and say it doesn't happen. It's happening in all families. Just about every family knows someone or has someone in their family that has an addiction issue. It is an epidemic, ladies and gentlemen. We have methamphetamine, heroin, fentanyl in our community, and this is all new within the last 5 years. I want to continue that fight. I want to take it on head on and begin to see progress, and we're already seeing it. And I want to continue to work with other elected officials in a nonpartisan way. For 27 years, I've been the judge in municipal court, and you talk to the lawyers. I have not been partisan. You can't tell how I'm going to rule on a case depending on what the party's politics are. And I can pledge to you, I will continue to do that on the Common Pleas level. Thank you very much.
The next one is Kristen Finley.
Hello, I'm Natalie Adams, and I'm one of Kristen's supporters, and she wasn't able to be here tonight. She had a prior obligation, so she asked me to read this letter in her absence. Dear friends, I have another engagement this evening, but I wanted to make sure that the concerned citizens of the Burlington area and those in attendance understand my commitment to Lawrence County and to Burlington. As many of you know, Burlington is home to me. I was raised right here in Burlington and attended school at Burlington Elementary. Although the school that I attended no longer stands, the pride I feel for my Burlington roots is strong today as it ever was. When I think of Burlington, I think of a place of first. For me, it was a place of almost all of my first. And as a community, Burlington was one of the first places that the former slaves met their freedom, and we were the first county seat in Lawrence County. Now you have the opportunity to experience another first. You have the opportunity to elect your first female judge to the General Division, and she's from Burlington, a place of first. So what is it that I would like to accomplish as your judge? First and foremost, The role of judge is to apply the law as written, fairly and impartially, to each and every case that comes before the court. I will uphold the law, and in doing so, I will listen to all the facts of each and every case that comes before the court. There will be no predetermined outcomes in my court. Second, I will face the drug epidemic head-on. Throughout my many years of practice, I have dealt with so much apathy and injustice regarding the drug epidemic, jail overcrowding, and the list goes on. With respect to the drug epidemic, as your judge, I pledge to hold people accountable for their actions while also being a strong advocate for prevention, awareness, and rehabilitation. Many of the solutions being discussed today by our elected officials have been around for decades. I'm glad to see action being taken, but I also have to wonder why it has taken so long. It is my pledge to you that I will take action when I see a need. I will not be the type of leader that kicks the can down the road only to further compound the issues facing our county. And one of my first initiatives will be to start the creation of a family drug court that will serve not only the person with the addiction, but the family members, especially children, left behind to pick up the shattered pieces oftentimes left by addiction. It is my strong belief that children are our future, and they are the most vulnerable to the issues we face regarding addiction. We must do what we can to protect them and enable them to cope with the impact of addiction. Third, I will work with Sheriff Wallace and other county officials to address the jail overcrowding issue in ways that the court is able to safely, logically, and effectively assist with the issue. Fourth, I will work with our county officials to assure that our probation department, including community service, is functioning in a way that promotes effective utilization of resources. If we stand back and think about it, as unfortunate as it may be, we have a pretty large workforce in terms of community service hours. It may take some time and effort, but I think we can find a solution to provide more consistent help to our villages, cities, towns, and townships. In doing so, I think we can also help further establish a sense of unity and pride in our community. The work that I wish to do for our county will take a lot of time and effort. It will not be a 40-hour work week effort, and I am okay with that. I want to promote justice and watch Lawrence County continue to prosper for my family and yours. I hope you give me the opportunity to serve Lawrence County. I would appreciate your vote and your support on November 6th. If you have any questions, I urge you to reach out to me directly. You will find my number on the back. You will find the number that connects to my cell phone on the back of my literature. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good evening.
Next is the Lawrence County Commissioners, Freddie Hayes.
Good evening. I'm Freddie Hayes. I'm your current county commissioner. I want to thank the Burlington concerned citizens for having us here this year. I think this is about my 9th time, so I'm kind of veteran at this. I always enjoy coming down here. Always enjoy supporting you guys too. Love you all. I want to introduce, I got some family here tonight. I've got my mom, Patty, sitting over here. I got my daughter, Miranda, and her boyfriend, Dylan. I am also the son, the son of the late Fred Hayes Sr., who is here with me tonight and with me every day of my life, I promise you that. You know, I'm a 1992 graduate of Sims Valley High School. I also got another daughter, Kayla, which she's still working this evening. They own a business down here in Cold Grove, the Cold Grove Freezette, and they work about 80 hours a week. I asked her to come. She said, "Dad, I'm going to have to work to make us a little money tonight." I said, "I understand that. That's no problem." I come from a business background. I've run many successful businesses in the county. I decided 7 years ago I wanted a way to give back to my community, and that's what I do this job for. Anybody that knows me knows I don't do it for the pay. I do it for the people, and that comes from my heart. I mean that. I work very hard at this job. I'm very proud of the accomplishments that we have made. I think I'm a part of one of the best commission teams that's ever been in this county. You know, the first 4 or 5 years, and everybody can quote me on this or criticize me on it, we had a little trouble. But then Miss Holliday joined the team, and I think we've made a great team and got a lot done in the last few years, and a lot good to come. One of the best things we ever done, we got to go to Washington, D.C., me and Miss Holliday. And, You know what? That put us on the map as far as I'm concerned. And then we've attended Columbus. They know our names now. I work very hard at this. I give my daughters the business, the last business that I'm a part of. I still own some other things, but people run them for me. My main job is county commissioner, and I spend a lot of time doing this. You know, the first year I got up here, I could hardly say 3 words, but I've turned it over to my heart. Now I can say what I mean. What I tell you comes from my heart. I don't read it off of paper. I don't. Dave Lucas helped me with my campaign. He thought he was going to be able to tell me how to run my campaign. It comes from my heart right here, and that means something. You know, I'm very proud of the accomplishment, very proud of the jobs we've run. We've run hundreds of jobs in this county. I've worked with the best sheriff we've ever had in this county. It's Mr. Jeff Lawless right there, and I ain't afraid to admit that either. We've done well together. Everything he's ever asked, if we had the money, I'd give it to him. Now, we've got a lot of local issues that we've got to deal with still, and we're working on them. One is the jail. Not afraid to talk about the jail. We've worked hard on this jail. I voted 3 times to move that jail to Franklin Furnace. And as Bob will tell you here in a little bit, I didn't vote for the $64,000 to give for the utilities because I wasn't going to waste our taxpayer money because we didn't have the money to go. That's as simple as that. Wasn't going to give them $64,000. They was going to take it back over. There's no use wasting taxpayers' money. I'm very conservative. My dad taught me at a young age, you save your pennies, pennies make nickels, nickels make dimes, and so on. And he's right. I've been very successful, and I've been very successful at this job. My favorite people, I've got 3 sets of favorite people in this county. One is the youth. Everybody knows that. I've supported the fair for over 20 years. When I'm running and when I'm not running. I ain't the face you see there when you're running. I'm the face there every year. The veterans, same way. If it wasn't for the veterans, we wouldn't have our freedom tonight. You know, I love the veterans. Mike Patterson, yeah. Mr. Mike Patterson back there is one of my best friends from high school. He taught me one thing. He said, everything we go to, you recognize them veterans, and he's 100% right. Agree with you, Mike. The other people, favorite people in the world, that's my seniors sitting back there. I'm gonna say this real quick. Miss Darlene sat back here, and I tell this because I'm very proud of this. This is why. When I first run 7 years ago, I asked Darlene for her vote. She said, I'll give you my vote. She said, but I got one thing I want. She said, we don't have a place to eat. We don't have a senior center. She said, will you help us? I said, I'll do more than help you. I promise we'll take 3 buses on my dime to Columbus and stand in front of anybody and get you a senior center. Within a year and a half, I delivered. Am I right, Darlene? I also told her, I said, that's not good enough. We're going to get you a new senior center, and I'm going to stay on it till we do. This year on the capital grant, we received $1 million, and we're going to build that new senior center up there in Proctorville. And that's what this job's about. It's about giving. It's not about a paycheck. There's a lot of takers in this world, but there needs to be a lot more givers in this world. And I'll tell you something else. Before I left the house tonight, I was watching this Supreme Court Justice interview. I have never in my life seen the way people tear families apart with this politics. It's a sad deal. I also myself have been criticized, threatened, and everything. You know what? I do this job for free. It's not worth all that. Think before you say things. We all got kids that we love very much, and they're all very proud of their parents. So please, keep all that negative stuff out of it. I am so tired of that. I want to be this commissioner. I want to stay your commissioner. I'm for the people. I'm not for it. Nobody else tells me what to do. That's half the reason I get people running against me all the time, and that's fine. But there ain't a soul tells me what to do. Promise you that. Dad said answer to one person. That's right here. And that's who's going to tell you what to do. Thank y'all.
Bob McAllister.
Hi, guys. I want to thank the Burlington Concerned Citizens for this opportunity to talk to you. Since I'm kind of the new guy up here, new to politics, never been involved, I want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the choices that I've made and that have led me to this point. Because our life really is an aggregation of the choices that we make. I have always been a person that has been interested in public service. And the most important decision I ever made, the most important choice I ever made is sitting right over here. It's my beautiful wife, Faye. But the second thing that I did was I chose a long time ago to live a life of public service. In the words of John McCain, to live a life dedicated to something larger than yourself. I was never interested in making a lot of money. I always wanted to serve the public. And the question was how to do that. And I went through a period of time when I was in college and the years after where I wasn't really sure how to do that and what my real calling was. And I went back and forth from teaching and coaching to an academic life where I worked in graduate school at Ohio State. Ultimately, I earned my PhD in political science there. But I was never really sure. But I came to a real moment of choice in 1988 where I made a big decision, a big choice. And that was to come back home, the place where my family is, where my values are formed, and to serve the people of this area. And I came to me that my real role, the best way I could serve people was to be a mentor to young people. That's what I wanted to do with my life. And that's what I've done. It seemed to me that there were an awful lot of young people from Lawrence County that struggle with the same things I struggle with, who seem to be born with a sense that they have limited horizons, that the options open to other people aren't open to them. And they're wrong about that, because I've taught in big high schools and small high schools, I've taught in big universities and small universities, and here's what I've learned. I have learned that the young people of this county are every bit as smart and every bit as talented as anybody in this country, and I wanted to help them achieve those dreams. I would open every school year to say, I am here to get you ready for the Ivy League, because they're capable of that and I know that. And that's how I've spent my life. I've not amassed a great fortune. I have amassed a wealth of relationships, and I hope I've been able to shape their lives. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I think some of those choices I've made have led me to this point, have prepared me for this moment. It's almost like there's an invisible hand of a greater power that's guided me in this direction. Because it has given me the knowledge and the skills that can help me chart a course in working with others to bring Lawrence County real success in the 21st century. Because we've all seen this county buffeted by global forces. My dad worked at the Malibu. When the steel industry in Ohio died, it hurt my family. We struggled. And we've been buffeted by those forces, but the knowledge I've been able to gain and the insights I've been able to develop can help, I think, if I become county commissioner, if you'll honor me with your vote, to help us chart that course. And I think there are 4 ways that I'm kind of uniquely qualified to help do this. And the first thing is we have to identify the industries, the businesses, the services that are going to last in the 21st century, that are going to be around. We can't keep talking about some mythic past in the good old days. We got to look to where things are moving. And the example I always use, because it's the fastest growing industry in the world right now, is renewable energy. We are about, over the next 20 years or so, to completely revolutionize our energy grid, and tremendous numbers of great jobs are going to come out of that. This is happening around the world. I want us to catch that wave, not be washed over by it. The second way I think I'm qualified to do this is that we need to build an economy, and this is so much a part of my DNA, of who I am. We need to build an economy that lifts all boats, that provides opportunity for all people in Lawrence County, that allows our young people, rich and poor, white or black, to rise to the level their talent will take them. And that's a core part of who I am. I also want to make sure that we build a future, not by winning a race to the bottom, not by bringing jobs that don't support a middle-class life, but that bring in great middle-class jobs where families can prosper, where workers' rights are protected, and where we protect this amazing environment, this beautiful landscape that God's given us. And then there's one other way I think I can make a real contribution to Lawrence County. And that's as an advocate. I understand the process, I understand the system. Lawrence County needs somebody that can go to Columbus, that can go to Washington, and that can make our case to fulfill the needs of this county, to overcome the neglect that we know that we've suffered from our state government, from our national government, that we know this part of Ohio has been neglected for decades. I can do that. I know Deanna's been working on that, and I want to be a partner in that. So for me, this is not a career move. I'm way too old to be making career moves. For me, this is a culmination of a life of public service. And if you'll honor me with your vote, I promise you I'll give all that I have to build and protect this county that we all love. Thank you very much.
Next, we have the Lawrence County Auditor, Jason Tolliver.
I know Freddie has a big heart, but I would bet he's just like me, that his mother still tells him what to do. Oh, yeah. I've known Freddie for a while, and I give him a hard time, and I think he appreciates that. But today we was at Ironton earlier today at a function, and I want to publicly thank Jason Stevens' wife, Mrs. Stevens. A lot of times these races get nasty and people get upset and their feelings get hurt, but she has tolerated my dad for months, and I publicly want to thank you for letting him aggravate you, and you're always been very courteous and professional, and thank you. The other people that was there today really working hard for me was Tim Edwards and his wife Sarah. I want to thank you guys publicly. Everybody can shake your hand and tell you thank you, but I think it means a little more when people come out and stand up and publicly thank you. So I want to thank you too as well. And as always, my beautiful fiance is always with me, and if everybody on this stage will tell you that this is a lot of sacrifice and a lot of time away from your family, so I want to thank you as well. People ask me if I'm qualified to do this job, and the short answer is yes, I am. I can give you my resume, I can post that up, but I can make that resume look as good as I want, just like everybody else can. But what I can tell you, and what you can find out about, is my record. And what my record shows is that I am a successful business person. I was given a good foundation to build off of, and I've took that and ran with it. I have worked with multiple unions in all three surrounding states, and that alone is a headache in itself. We have to set multi-million-dollar budgets. We built this building, and I believe we brought it in on time and under budget, and that's what we do. All that together has given me enough hours probably to get an associate's degree in accounting, forecasting, budgeting, and when I go down the hall and something needs to be done, I get it done, and that includes cleaning the bathrooms too. So I am a part-time janitor as well. But when there is a problem, it stops with me, and I have to get it done. I don't get to go ask somebody else to hand that problem off to and come back tomorrow and it's done. That's what happens when a problem arises, is it does stop with me, and I do have to get it done. I am the problem solver in my industry. As far as working with everybody else, I work with multiple people in that industry. I can work with everybody that is in these offices and keep these problems getting solved. So if you want somebody that is going to keep all your seniors back there, I'm assuming that you're on a limited income. If you want someone that's going to help keep your property taxes low, if you want somebody that's going to fight these issues like the jail, then I'd appreciate your vote on November 6th. Thank you.
Jason Stevens.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank the concerned citizens of Burlington for hosting another forum here, as we've done several times. I lost count several years ago, Freddie, on my count. But anyway, my name is Jason Stevens, and I'm seeking re-election as your Lawrence County Auditor. I was first elected auditor in 2010, and before that, I spent 10 years as one of your county commissioners. Now, being someone who served as both auditor and commissioner, I often get the question of which job do you like better? Well, I like both of them, but they're different. They're just different jobs, and they have different roles in the county government. The county commissioners are the deciders. There's 3 county commissioners, and every week they're making decisions, whether it be tax policy, whether it be employment policy, all kinds of different decisions that affect our county. But the auditor's role is more administrative. We are in the business of providing information, to give information to people who make decisions. And it's not just the county commissioners, it's also your school boards, your township trustees, your municipalities, or even the voters themselves in an election. So not only that, of providing information, but we also keep track of what decisions are made and make records of that and make that information available. As you might imagine, the auditor's job is very financial in nature, and it can be challenging. But my background gives me the qualifications to serve as your county auditor. I have college degrees in finance and business management. I'm also a certified financial planner certificate. I also have corporate banking experience and small business experience with our family's insurance business, and also have 18 years of local government experience being in the county. My goal as county auditor is to provide this information and to do our job in a way that is professional, efficient, and also customer friendly. One of the most efficient ways that we have improved information flow from the county auditor's office, giving you access to the county's information, is through our website, lawrencecountyauditor.org. The website has seen a lot of additions and enhancements during my tenure as auditor. We've added the levy calculator, the manufactured home search, the tax distribution estimate, the ability to buy our dog tags online, a lot of the forms, so you don't have to go to the courthouse. You can actually download them at home or the office or wherever, and many other convenient links to other county services throughout the county. Also, we've set aside a special section to give financial reports. We put the expense reports, the revenue reports, and then the cash balance of every county fund for every month, and we've left that historic information out there for people to review as well. In addition to this, on the real estate side, we provide aerial photography. We combine it with the tax map from the county engineer's office, giving you data and information about all of the real estate, the sales, and everything that you can get through the reporting, and all of that comes from the auditor's website. And it's a really good tool, and it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, as long as the internet's working. I do believe that we should always be looking for ways to improve our government. And as your county auditor, if you elect me again into the future, I will continue to try to find ways and to implement ways of making our county government work better and more efficient. On a personal level, my wife Julie is here. Thank you, Mr. Tolliver, for mentioning her. She's nice to everybody, really. She really is. And we've been married for 24 years, and we celebrated our 25th wedding engagement this past weekend. I always thought that was a bigger deal for me because I had to do the asking. The wedding part, I just showed up and did my part. But anyway, so our son Jackson, our youngest son Jackson, is here. He's a sophomore at Chesapeake, and the Chesapeake golf team qualified to move to the next level today in the rain. Congratulations, Jackson. We have 2 other sons, Sawyer and Wesley. They are 20 and 22, and they're both in college. We live out in Getaway on a small farm. We are members of the Rome Church of Christ in Proctorville. My grandparents are the late Kermit and my grandmother Hilda Stevens. They were founding members of the church there, and my parents are Jerry and Mary Stevens, also of Getaway. I believe my dad's back there tonight. One of the things my family has taught me through the years is it's very important to serve other people. And as you might imagine, a lot of my service has come through youth sports, having 3 boys. I've been a Little League coach, a Buddy League basketball coach, all things soccer, from a soccer coach to a soccer league president to a soccer referee, and I've even spent a couple of times as a Little League baseball referee. But I found out very quickly that it's not a place for a politician to get a lot of votes. So I got out of the business of being a baseball referee pretty quickly. But most recently, over the past few years, I've spent a lot of time as one of the PA announcers at Chesapeake Sports. And I've enjoyed, what does that mean, Ed?
5 minutes.
That was 5 minutes already? Well, anyway, as a PA announcer, you might imagine I talk too much. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for the support over the years. I really enjoy being a part of Lawrence County. It's a great community. I love the people of Lawrence County. I love serving Lawrence County. I hope that I've earned your trust, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
The state representative for the 93rd District, Ryan Smith.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Cameron Garsick. I serve as the Executive Assistant and Senior Legislative Aide to State Representative Ryan Smith, who is also the Speaker of the Ohio House of Representatives. I'm often asked, are you related to Ryan Smith, or you bear a striking resemblance? And so I just want to put that out there. No, I'm not related to him. No relation at all. But he asked me to be here tonight. He sent his regrets. He had a previously scheduled meeting to attend. But he asked me to be here tonight to express his desire to be reelected as your state representative. He has served since 2012 as the state representative for 93rd District, which includes Benton County, Gallia County, Lawrence County, and Jackson County. He is proud to represent Southern Ohio in the State House. And I know a lot of us down here, we talk about our voice not being heard in Columbus, and that is a struggle. But I can tell you, with Ryan Smith and Senator Peterson in Columbus, your voice is heard. And things don't always go as fast as we want them to in terms of policies, but I can tell you with Senator Peterson being the number 2 senator in the Ohio Senate and Speaker Smith being the number 1 member of the House, people listen. So when they talk and when they bring up issues that are important to Southern Ohio, to Lawrence County, people listen and they take heed of that. Ryan Smith lives in Gallipolis, just outside of Gallipolis in Bidwell, with his wife Vicki and his 4 children. He has been active in his community. Prior to being elected, he was the president of the Gallipolis City Schools Board of Education. So education is very impactful for him and close to his heart. In Columbus, his main concerns that he focuses on are the opioid epidemic, broadband expansion, and obviously job creation and workforce development. Those are the issues that really matter to this area. One of the bills that he introduced recently is House Bill 378, and that would appropriate $100 million over 2 years to businesses, to nonprofits, to local governments to invest in broadband expansion, because that's vital for a number of things, for educational purposes and also for even medical needs throughout the district. So that's one thing that's close to his heart, and hopefully we can see that passed here soon. Overall, like I said, he's proud to represent the area. He's sad he couldn't make it here tonight, but we really appreciate your all support. And if there are any questions you have for me, I'd be happy to answer them. So thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Samantha Thomas Bush.
Good evening. I'm Samantha Thomas Bush. I'm running for the 93rd District State House Representative, running against Mr. Smith. And I am a Democrat. I live in Proctorville. I've been a Lawrence County resident for about 5 years, but I've always lived here in the Ohio Valley. I grew up in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Actually, that's not correct. I grew up in Flat Rock, West Virginia, as my dad would always make me correct. I went to Point Pleasant High School. And then my husband and Andy and I went to Marshall University. We moved to Louisville for 3 years while I went to law school. And then we've been back here ever since. So I have a law practice in Huntington, but I practice in all over West Virginia and all over Kentucky. And Mr. Capper is very well respected in the area, I'll just make that note. But on any event, the reason that I've decided to run for State House is I have a different idea and a different vision for Southern Ohio than what's taking place right now. There are 3 things that I want to do when I make it to Columbus. Number 1, job creation through small businesses. Small businesses is how we grow our economy. And as Mr. Graham has echoed to me, small business is the lifeblood of this country. That is how we keep the living wage jobs. That's how we bring back union jobs. We need to have strong workforce in our area that it's giving way to the second point and the second issue that I'm going to address. Substance abuse is a major issue in our area. And it goes back into the job issue. We have people on different things from opioids to heroin to, alcohol abuse. And it has to be addressed comprehensively. We can give people to Judge Ballard and Judge Capper all day that have problems, and they do a wonderful job, but there's only so much they can do. They have people put in front of them with problems, and they have to address it. But we can address it on the state level from a prevention side. We can address it on the state level by getting into the schools, talking to kids, talking with families in a counseling type of situation. If somebody's on drugs, we can give the infrastructure to allow people to get off drugs and re-enter society. Those are the missing gaps that are not present right now. We have to connect all of those dots. And then the third thing that I'm really concerned about, and it's not quite as bad in Lawrence County as it is in other parts of the state, but it's creeping here. Education is being pushed to privatize. And that takes away from our public school dollars here in the county. It takes away from our teachers. It takes away from the money that we would have to do extracurricular activities, to have classes that are going to enrich our children, STEM classes, things like that that are going to get our kids ahead, to get them into the Ivy League. It takes away teachers' jobs when we're pushing to privatize the schools. And the reappropriation of the money to privatize the charter schools, which are essentially going to be without any kind of regulations or standards, it only helps to go back into the issue of not having good jobs in our area and not having a comprehensive solution to the substance abuse issue. All three of these issues that I want to address work together. If you don't have a solid foundation for education, you're not going to attract workers and or business makers, business owners who want to come here and they want to open their business, they want to invest in our area. And if you don't have a workforce that they can trust, who will not be inebriated on the job and giving them liabilities that they would be going out into the area, driving their company trucks and potentially hurting somebody else. Those are major concerns when somebody is going to open a business here, and that will scare them off. So the drug problem and the business problem and the education problem are all together. And I know that's been 5 minutes, I'm sorry. But those are my issues that I'm really concerned about. I hope you all will consider me on November 6th for state representative. Thank you.
Okay, we have State Senate District 17, Scott Daly.
How y'all doing? I'm Scott Daly. I'm from Waverly. I was born in Chillicothe. I'm a union pipe fitter out of the Plumbers Pipe Fitters Local 577 in Portsmouth, Ohio. I grew up in Waverly. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. My parents divorced when I was 10 years old. My mom was 33. She didn't even have a high school diploma. And we struggled for a couple of years, but thankfully she got a really good job and she joined the union. I'm running for this office to give a voice to Lawrence County and to District 17. I think there are 4 things that are very important, and I think as was alluded to earlier, they all kind of work together and it's hard to do one without the rest. And I think the number 1 thing is wellness. I think we need education. I think we need career, and I think we need retirement. So let's talk about wellness a minute. For every 10 Ohioans that don't have health care, 4 work full-time. 4 have a full-time job. They struggle paycheck to paycheck, and they're 1 medical problem away from bankruptcy, and they work full-time and don't have insurance. If you add part-timers, that would be 2 more. So that's 6 out of 10 Ohioans who have jobs and don't have health care. When it comes to education, there's a lot of layers to education. You'll hear a lot of different sides. You'll hear a lot of different things. They just come out with a study talking about getting away from testing and doing these other things, and I'm sure all those things are important, but I think the most important thing is we need to know how much it costs to educate a child. There's not been one study done that gives a dollar amount to how much it costs to give a child in Lawrence County an education, and I don't think until we do that, any of the rest of it's going to really add up to much. And to add to that, once we do figure out exactly how much it costs to educate a child, we need to pay that amount. We need to stop this residual funding in schools and go to direct funding in schools. When it comes to educating adults, all I'm reading is how all these jobs around the state of Ohio and they don't have workers for them. Well, that seems to be a big problem, and we need to fix that problem. We need to gather educators, we need to gather politicians, we need to gather trade unions, and we need to gather business. And we need to get together on this and quit all this saying we don't have workers. Why don't you talk about the workers you need before we really start revving up on the jobs that we have? Because there are plenty of workers in Lawrence County that could take some of these jobs they're talking about, but they need the education, and we got to work to do that. When it comes to career, we basically have a career to provide for our families. I think the minimum wage is a joke. The federal minimum wage hasn't been raised. At least here in the state of Ohio, we see that problem, and we give it an $8.30 raise from the $7.25. But if you just took inflation, and there's a lot of arguments and discussions about that, but if you just take simple inflation and add it, the minimum wage really should be $11. And that's without even talking about productivity. That's just talking about pure inflation. So let me assure you that I have brothers and sisters in the Senate right now that are working on a bill that would raise the minimum wage in Ohio next year in 2019 to $12 an hour, and then it would raise 50 cents an hour every year after until it's $15 an hour, and that would be in 2025. As far as retirement goes, Senator Sherrod Brown has done nothing but work hard for the last year or two trying to save pensions in this state. Could you imagine working your whole career, paying into a pension, and come to your retirement time, and now they say, oh, the stock market didn't do so good, or this person this, or that person that, and they're not holding up their end when you held up your end. We need to save pensions in this state, and we need to work on keeping people and giving them what they deserve and what was promised them. And that goes right along with Social Security and Medicare. We need to preserve those, and we need to actually add to them as far as I'm concerned. But I just want to let you know that I listen, I care, and you matter, and I'm Scott Daly, and I'd like your vote for State Senate District 17.
Bob Peterson.
Good evening. Thank you to all the organizers who made this event possible, and thank you to the crowd who's participating in democracy tonight. Two things you need to know about me, Bob Peterson. I had the great honor and pleasure of serving as your state senator and have for the last several years. Two things you need to know. One, I'm a farmer. In fact, my brother and I are the 8th generations of Petersons to farm in the United States. And we both look forward to the 9th generation joining us when my son comes back from college in a few years. In fact, many days on our farm, many mornings, you'll see 3 generations, my dad, my brother and I, and our children working together. And that's the goal of every small business, family-owned business. The other important thing you need to know, in fact, the most important thing, you need to know my wife, Lisa. My wife of 26 years, Lisa and I are blessed with 3 children. Lisa and I are blessed with 3 children, no grandchildren yet, but we have hopes. So why did I run for, it's obvious, anybody who knows me, I love my farm. So why did I leave my farm? Why did I leave my farm every day and my family to serve you in Lawrence County or the State House, wherever that day takes me? Why did I do that? One defining moment. You see, I was a county commissioner, and my fellow commissioners and I and other local leaders developed an industrial park, a mega industrial park, 2,000 acres, sits on 2 major highways, 71 and 35, has everything a large employer would want, water, sewer, electric, fiber optic, anything that they would want for their 1,000-job company or more. As you may remember, a decade or more ago, Honda of America was looking to expand, to broaden from their site in Marysville. And they did a nationwide search, really focusing on the Midwest. But in that search, they identified 3 sites: Van Wert, Ohio, our site in Fayette County, Ohio, and a site in Indiana. So after working with this Honda for many months, trying to recruit them into Fayette County, they came into their office one day, and they said things I will always remember. They said, "You have the best site. We'll be up and operational 6 months faster on your site for millions of dollars less. But we're going to Indiana." And we're going to Indiana because the tax structure is lower, the regulatory environment's better to deal with, and workman's compensation rates are much lower for our companies. None of those things I or my fellow commissioners could control. And in fact, that's something I had heard over and over and over from many other companies that we tried to recruit into Fayette County. And we were seeing job losses throughout that time. 400, if you remember back, 400,000 jobs lost over that 4-year time period. So I decided to run. And I ran with the focus of bringing jobs back to the state of Ohio, and specifically the 17th Senate District. And we've been successful. Working with Speaker Smith, you know, our unemployment rates dropped from 11.5% to 4.5%, and yours in Lawrence County has modeled that same number. We've created 540,000 jobs and growing, and we've lowered taxes, $5 billion over the last 8 years. And while lowering taxes, we've also increased funding for important things like schools and care for our elderly and Medicaid and Medicare. We have balanced budgets. When I came into office, we had an $8 billion hole in our budget. 18% of the state budget was in deficit. 87 cents in our savings account. Not a good spot to be in. We could have been bankrupt if we made bad decisions. We filled that hole. We gave tax cuts. We increased funding for education. And the other area that the Honda told me about was regulatory relief. Any small business or any business in the state of Ohio can recognize that we have made extensive changes, and that's helped our job growth. Workman's compensation, another one of the 3 things that I promised to run on 8 years ago. We've had 35% rate cuts. We pay as an employer, you pay 1/3 less for workman's compensation with no cuts in benefits, and $4.5 billion in refunds back to companies, again, with no cuts to workman's compensation benefits. Another thing, if you've been watching Washington, especially today, the chaos going on in Washington, D.C. right now, that's not how the State House operates. And my bills have almost exclusively been bipartisan, many of them unanimous. I work very well with the other side. In fact, people have told me that's why I was elected to the number 2 position in the Senate, because I work with everybody. I listen to everybody. I care and try to help them succeed and make Ohio a better place. We've made progress, but there is substantial more work to do. If you're kind enough to re-elect me and give me 4 more years, I promise to keep working on job growth, because that's the focus. Everybody needs a job, and everybody needs the best job they can get. I will focus on workforce development so that we have the people qualified to do the high-tech jobs of the future. The drug epidemic is consuming a generation, and while we may have started to turn the corner, there's still substantial work to do. And together, working with local officials, local leaders, churches, everybody, will find a way to solve that problem. Education reform. Again, we need to make sure we are teaching the students of the future what they need to know and the skills they need to have. Part of that is reducing testing. We are over-testing our students. And another piece of it is, you know, you've heard my focus on regulatory reform. If you're a teacher and teaching these classrooms, you may be in one of the most regulated environments in the state of Ohio. We need to reduce the regulations across the state of Ohio. The other thing that I don't have time to talk about is infrastructure, and we need to work on roads, bridges, water, sewer, and broadband across this great state. I'm as passionate today as I was 8 years ago when I first got elected. I'm committed to serving you. This is a service position. I believe that Ohio and Lawrence County's brightest days are still ahead of us. I would appreciate your vote. May God bless you.
We have a state issue ballot to reduce penalties for crime and obtaining, processing, and using illegal drugs. Judge Andy Ballard is going to address the issue.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to make a couple of acknowledgments first, and Ed, please don't let this count against my 5 minutes. But first off, I would like to acknowledge all the candidates here on stage that have come out to speak this evening. I think they deserve a round of applause for making themselves available to you. Freddie and Bob both mentioned the word veterans and democracy earlier, and this is a perfect example of it. You know, we have our freedoms because of our veterans who fought and died for this country. And as a result of those freedoms, we have democracy. And democracy is taking place here tonight in Lawrence County with these candidates making themselves available to your questions and telling you about their positions. And I think everyone needs to appreciate their efforts here tonight because this is not easy. 2 years ago, I was on this stage and as a relatively unknown political candidate, and I told this crowd a lot of things that you already knew, that we had a drug problem, that the Common Pleas Court could handle it more effectively than what they were doing, and that we needed change. And I promised this crowd that I would bring a certified drug court to Lawrence County if you gave me the chance in office, and you trusted me. And you showed that by a win at the polls in November. And on April 19th, we had our first drug court from initial certification in Lawrence County, and on September 6th, we were granted final certification by the Supreme Court of Ohio. And a lot of effort went into that, and it kind of all started right here in Burlington. And I don't bring that, I thank you for the applause. I don't bring that up for the pat on the back. I bring that up because I came to you and I said, trust me. I will deliver what I promised, and you did. I'm coming to you now tonight, not as a candidate, and I'm asking you again, trust me. Issue 1 that is on our ballot is terrible for the state of Ohio. Issue 1 does not purport, or well, it does not perform as it purports to be a Neighborhood Safety and Rehabilitation Act. Issue 1 is an act that is going to make our communities less safe. When I stood on this stage 2 years ago, I told you the one thing that we can all agree upon is that no one is ever going to come into Lawrence County and fix Lawrence County's problems. We fix our problems as a community by coming together. No one is ever going to take care of us. The same can be said for the state of Ohio. No one is going to come in from outside Ohio and take care of this state. So when you look at this proposed constitutional amendment that our community is going to vote on, every community in all 88 counties is going to vote on, look at the funding sources. As of July 31st, there was over $4 million submitted to get this issue on the ballot. $2.5 million were funded by charitable organizations, one operated by Mark Zuckerberg and the other by George Soros. These people have financial interests in the state or will develop financial interests in the state. If you're going to donate in excess of $1 million, there are greater charities and philanthropic needs than a constitutional amendment in the state of Ohio. One in particular, if I was going to donate $1 million, I would rather see water on Macedonia Road than I would a constitutional amendment. And these are serious issues. You don't give $1 million to a foreign state when you're from California without some sort of financial interest. Their reasoning behind it is they're saying that we're sending too many people to prison and we're not being effective in this war on drugs. The opioid epidemic has taken time for the courts to respond. We are responding with innovative approaches to justice where we're not sending people to prison. This community realizes within the last year, I brought almost $500,000 of grant money to this community through the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction for the purpose of not sending felony 5 nonviolent offenders to prison. That commitment's already been made by this county, and we got money to help offset the expenses that are associated with that. We are sending people to treatment. We are not giving up on our individuals in our community who are dealing with addiction problems and substance abuse issues. We continue to attack the offenders in our community that are making our communities less safe by dealing drugs in our community, by committing violent crimes. That is who we are reserving prison for. We are not reserving prison for our sons, daughters, mothers, and fathers who are dealing with addiction issues. We are trying to help them. I would almost guess that I've granted more interventions in lieu of convictions in the year and a half that I've been on the bench than this county's ever seen granted in the history of Lawrence County. And what that means is if an offender facing a felony conviction qualifies under statute and makes a motion for intervention in lieu of conviction, I grant that motion. And if they meet all the requirements that are set upon them under their intervention plan, they appear before me and I dismiss the charges. That charge goes completely away. Under the proposed constitutional amendment, those get reduced to misdemeanors. They still result in misdemeanor convictions. In my court, you have the ability to make the charge completely dismissed. So that's one issue that they're not telling you about when they promote this and they call it neighborhood safety and rehabilitation. The other issue that is of critical importance, especially for me and my beautiful wife sitting there as parents of 4 children, a very, very, very serious drug in fentanyl becomes a misdemeanor at a level of 19 grams and under. That is 10,000 lethal doses of that drug in our community becomes a misdemeanor. That's what we get out of this law. There are good provisions written in this constitutional amendment, but it cannot be passed via constitutional amendment. Those good provisions need to be taken care of by our legislature in a comprehensive reform plan, not just the courts and law enforcement, but through education, our entire communities, and a comprehensive approach is the only way we're going to beat the opioid epidemic and the drug crisis that we're facing with the rise of meth as well. We can't legislate via constitutional amendment on issues that are fluid and need changed. We have to approach it through the legislative process. This amendment does not make our community safer. It makes our community subject to more violent crime and more drug trafficking. I promise you we continue to work on this epidemic and we continue to work on this issue with all the resources we can gather to help rebuild and strengthen this community. And I will commit to you tonight that I will spend every day that I'm an elected official working for that cause. But again, I ask for your trust. And I ask you to trust me when I tell you this proposed amendment is bad for us. It's bad for you. It's bad for our children. It's bad for our grandchildren. Let's send a message to these outside special interests that we cannot be bought. And let's vote no on issue 1 on November 6th. Thank you very much.
Andrea Buckler, State Representative for the 90th District.
I hate to crash your party here tonight, but I was at Dave Lucas's show down in Ironton and I got done early, and so I wanted to drive up, even though this is outside of my district, and let you all know who I am. I am Adrian Buckler, as he said. I am a candidate for state representative for the 90th district. So if you have Terry Johnson as your House rep right now, that is the seat I'm running for. That includes Ironton West and a little bit of Coal Grove. I came up because I'm working really hard at this race, and I want you all to know that I really care about you. I hear a lot of times people saying that I'm so young and I don't deserve this position, and I say, well, that's baloney. I'm 28 years old. It's not taken me 50 plus years to realize that I want to come back to my community and make a change. And quite frankly, it's not about what I deserve or my opponent deserves in this race. It's about what you all deserve here in Lawrence County and in District 90. And so I'll keep it brief, and I just want you to know that if you're looking for someone who's going to be a champion for you all, for Lawrence County and for District 90, someone who's going to put Southern Ohio's interests first at the State House, well then I'm your girl. I'm Adrian Buckler. I'm a candidate for the 90th District, and I would be absolutely honored to be your next state representative. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Burlington Elementary would like to thank everyone for their attendance here tonight. We are proud to host this meeting here, to open our schools up to everyone. This is a public event. We'd like to thank the candidates that came. We'd also like to take the opportunity to thank the following individuals for supporting our upcoming fall festival, for volunteering to provide monetary gifts, or providing your help. We'd like to thank Mr. Capper, Mr. Hayes, Ms. Holliday, Mr. Terry Wise, Mr. Mike Patterson, Mr. Jason Stevens, Ms. Kristen Finley, Mr. Mike Finley, the concerned citizens of Burlington. Your contributions is greatly appreciated, and we will go a long way in providing us with another spectacular event for our youth. If anyone is interested in making a donation towards that, you're welcome to see me afterwards, and we'll get it taken care of. Thank you.
There's many things that concerned citizens do, but we operate on donations, and it's very important. We do appreciate your attendance. Thank you.